Isn't it fascinating how something as simple as an empty chair can hold such profound meaning? Let me share a touching story that might change the way you look at empty spaces in your life. In a quiet neighborhood, there lived an elderly man nearing the end of his journey. One day he reached out to his local priest asking him to visit. When the priest arrived, something caught his eye: a simple chair, empty, positioned right next to the man's bed. It seemed purposefully placed, almost like it was waiting for someone. Noticing the priest's curious glance, the elderly man smiled warmly and began to explain. "You see that chair?" he said, his voice soft but filled with certainty. "Every day I sit here and imagine Jesus sitting right there beside me. We have the most wonderful conversations." His eyes lit up as he continued. "Some might think it's silly, but to me it's the most natural thing in the world. When I'm worried, scared, or just need someone to talk to, I turn to that chair and I feel his presence." The priest was deeply moved by this simple yet profound practice. Here was a man who had found comfort and connection in what others might see as just empty space. He had created a sacred ritual, a daily moment of peace and companionship. A few days later, the priest received a call from the man's nurse. Her voice was gentle as she shared the news of his passing. But what she said next gave the priest goosebumps. "We found him with his head resting peacefully on that empty chair beside his bed. It was as if he had fallen asleep in the middle of a conversation with an old friend." You know, this story teaches us something beautiful about faith and connection. Sometimes the strongest bonds we form aren't visible to the eye. They're felt in our hearts, lived through our daily rituals, and remain unbroken even when physical presence fades away. Whether it's a spiritual connection, memories of loved ones who've passed, or relationships separated by distance. The chairs in our lives may appear empty to others, but to us they're filled with presence, love, and meaning. Sometimes the most powerful connections are the ones we nurture in the quiet moments, in the spaces between words, in the seemingly empty chairs beside us. Remember, just because you can't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. The bonds we create, the faith we hold, the love we share, they all live on, filling the empty spaces in our lives with meaning and purpose.